So let's add the multiple items onto our right hand or our left hand. Okay, so right now we just assign the ID for the right hand and the left hand, and of course if there's nothing then it just stays empty. Okay, so let's go and change a few things. First of all, we need to have an array for the right hand in general, same way we have this as with the start and close. Okay, and let's do an array for the left hand as well. Okay, then on our inventory manager we're going to start getting a few errors with this, because of course we were using an array and now we're just using a single we are using an array and we were then just using a simple anyway, so we're just going to set up a right hand and left hand. Here's the problem with this though: you do not actually have either on the right hand or on the left hand. We do not actually know if you're going to start with a weapon, and you could just not have any weapons, of course. So let's comment this out and let's see where this is happening. We start from the input manager, and when we are initting our controller, then we can say that you can now start to set up the weapons. But I think it will make a little bit more sense if we start with the inventory manager, and let's see where this inits. Init, okay, it inits from the set weapons itself. So instead of doing that, we can actually just pass the entire profile, so we have access to a lot more things. Now the inventory manager can actually just create a call back to the load weapon we have over here. So we're going to be handling this from the inventory manager. So in the init of the inventory manager, we're also going to just move the profile over here. Okay, and for now just going to be this. Let's go to definition, let's rename this to profile. So okay, so now actually we do have all our hooks, we do have all of that. Let's see on the controller in load weapon. I think we create the weapon in here. Yeah, we do create the weapon in here, which it's not really that big of a deal. We can use that. We need to get the item, of course. Let's see, load weapon. So on the set weapons, which is start from our input manager. Yeah, we're calling the resources manager. Okay, so let's see, we do have our resource manager over here. Do we use this anywhere else? We do not. Oh, we do use it over here. We use it for the starting close. Okay, we could probably just move this entirely on the inventory manager. Let's see, controller, starting close. Okay, so let's cut this and say that on the inventory manager, inside init, and after we have created all our hooks, let's do it with this. So we already have the profile. Okay, we do need to know our controller in this case, so we can also pass the controller in here. Okay, for the rest, from what we can see, we do not really need it that much. We do have a load weapon on hook and so on, but you know what, let's just save it because we're probably going to use it later. Okay, so we have a controller, we have our init for the hook, and which is for this. Technically this needs to change as well, since now we're going to be using the resource manager, and we can't do that. We can actually, because we have the profile, we don't really need this anymore either. Okay, because on your player profile you can have public, string, consumables, or extra, or items in general, you know. I guess could be consumable. Okay, so now all it comes down is to how we filter out our screen, our weapons and our items. So we need a list of weapon items we're going to have. Okay, and that will be our right hand weapons. Then we need a new list of weapon items for the left hand weapons, and we also need a list of those strings that we're going to be using, or just an array, because we know we aren't going to have, you're only going to be able to change three weapons per slot. So right hand 3, left hand 3. Then that means we could just use an array of string for right hand IDs equals new string of 3. Then string left hand IDs, new string of 3 as well. Then you need for IDs, new string 3. Okay, now on the weapon item we should probably be passing or we should be identifying the default one. So we're going to leave last a null entry on our weapons, so that will be your unarmed. So if you have 3 IDs, then that means on the last one, so the fourth one will be going entirely unarmed. Okay, exactly as it is with Dark Souls. So let's collapse that. Then this works fine because this is for the cloth, so at least we are good on that front. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to take any string that exists inside the profile. Actually, let's do this as a for loop. For the right hand, or okay, we could just do this. Okay, let's write it with a single one, and then later we're going to assign this. So for each profile right hand, if string is null or empty, then continue. Okay, we don't care. Then right hand weapons dot add resource manager get item profile right hand I. Okay, so this will do a get item. We need to cast it as a weapon item. Okay, so one small thing is that we don't know if this will actually be casted as an item, so we should do, or well, more technically, we should do item I equals right hand or item and if item is a weapon item, that's the correct way to do this, then cast this as a weapon item. So now you have all your weapon items onto the right hand. Okay, we're going to assume that right item and left item is the items we currently have, which I think we did use. Do we use them? Yeah, we're just loading them on the hook, and then we're going with that. Okay, so we need to do the same thing for the left hand, which means we can encapsulate this for load or create items for from IDs. We need to pass an array for the IDs, and we also need to pass the reference list of weapon items, target, or just target. So we're going to cut this, paste it in here, then we need to change this, should be the IDs. Okay, yeah, we do need the resource manager as well, so let's pass that as well. IDs. And over here, then we're just going to assign the reference value will be the T value. So that means create items from IDs profile dot right hand reference right hand items, right hand weapons, and the resource manager. Duplicate that, left hand and left hand weapons. Then we can start loading the items back to our player. So we're going to use controller dot load weapon right hand weapons 0, and then let's say load hand weapons, is left will be false, load weapons left hand weapons 0 will be true. But after we have done this, after we have finished with adding our first weapons, we're going to also add basically a null value to this. So if there's no weapons here, there's always going to be an entry for the right hand weapon and the left hand weapon. Okay, now we can encapsulate this, or actually we don't really need to encapsulate this. We need to have this inside an update method that will change when you open your inventory and close it. Okay, so this will be basically, yeah, I think we could just encapsulate the entirety of this to void update references from profile, player profile, got that, paste it in here, then player references from profile, we have your profile over here. Okay, then since we're going to be clearing up that, it means right hand weapons we need to clear that, left hand weapons we need to clear that as well, and now we're starting with clear references, and that's why we need to add this back in. So if you load the weapon and you say that the item is not a weapon item, it means return. So if you pass a null to this, we should do what we should do is basically just leave it on the default ones, I guess. So let's see, where do we use that? Git action. So if weapon item equals null, get item container, yeah, okay. Yeah, so if weapon item is null, we should be doing this. So we should change this to if item is actually null. So maybe and item is not null. Okay, so I think we should be going over here. So we're going to say debug.log load unarmed. So it's going to be following the default ones. Alternatively, we could just do a weapon item that is just going to always be the unarmed one, so you will not have default actions. But I think this will do it for now. Should be fine. So let's see, we are using the load weapon now on our inventory manager. Okay, we don't care the interact, okay. But what do we need is to call the inventory manager init profile. Let's see, we also need to pass the controller, which is this. Okay, and set weapons. We do not have a method now that calls this, but we do know that it was happening from here. So I'm going to change this slightly, and I'm going to go first and say set weapons before you init the controller, because inside the init the controller we are also loading the items on our starting clothes and so on. Okay, so we just need to get this before that. So let's say player profile. We just need to call the player profile. Now let's minimize this. Let's see, where do we get the error? IDs. Yeah, okay, we don't need that. Okay. So now we should get the exact same behavior, but of course we do get an error. Let's see why. And we get the error because inventory manager is not, yeah, it's not needed. So here's what I'm going to also do. I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to create a public void init cloth. Okay, and we're just going to split this up. So the controller will again init first, then set weapons, which also we could name to init inventory. Okay, and you do the init inventory over here. Okay, we don't need this. We can just call init cloth. Or you can call it the init cloth from inside this. Okay, because you are updating your references. So here's where you have your starting cloth, and you could just say controller init cloth. And technically you could just, call this with a starting cloth by itself. Anyway, we'll see if we need changes to that later. For now, this will do. Let's hit play. Okay, so we do have the exact same behavior. Okay. Awesome. So let's take this. We don't really care for this one. Actually, let's just delete it. So now if I go and change my IDs, they should load like that. So we have great sword, okay. Now if I take the great sword and add it on the last entry, it's still going to load. Okay, because when you are loading this in here, it's different than loading them on the to show on the inventory. In here, even if you do not have an item, you still want to, you know, if you leave 2 empty slots, you still want the weapon to show on the first at first when you press a key. So we have this, which means all we have to do now is actually make you take the next weapon. And I think we have, in part, we've already done this, because I think we have the interactions. Okay, so we have the interactions. Yeah, okay, I think it's going to crash. So it crashed, so whatever. Let's see, handle interaction, go definition, and yeah, we need to go through the interactions, which should be somewhere around here. Let's see, weapon hook, pickable hook. Okay, so pickable hook, it just calls the load weapon. So that means all we have to do is pretty much just hold on the inventory manager, just hold the index of the current weapon we have, which is this item, I believe. Okay, so that's easy to do, because we can simply do public void switch weapon. Okay, we need to know if it's left or right. Let's actually, well, we'll move it later. So if is left, so we need the index from the current weapon item. So we mean to do right hand weapons dot index of left item. Okay, then on that index we add plus plus to this. If index is higher than left weapons dot count -1, then index will be 0. This might actually be a problem if the left item is null. I don't know if it's going to be, yeah, that's probably going to be a problem, yeah. So maybe, no, okay, let's go with this. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to make an empty weapon, I'm guessing. Yeah, I think that will make a little bit more sense. So index left item, then okay, then that means load weapon or controller load weapon left hand weapons index. Okay, and of course this is true. Okay, so copy that, paste it in here. Obviously we can encapsulate this. Yeah, okay, let's encapsulate. So we have index, let's say it's 0, and we also need the weapon item, target item, or result equals null. Then okay, and then we need a list of weapon item list. Then if here, then is left hand weapons, otherwise right hand weapons. Close that. Okay, and this can go down here, and I guess we don't even need this, we just need this down here. which can change to a list. Okay, then all we have to do is say index and index of okay, is left item, right item. Okay, index of result, and yeah, that's pretty much it, encapsulated. Okay, so so with this we could easily switch weapons, and it will go to the next one, into the next one, but we need to say if index, well, index plus plus, if index is greater than l.count minus 1, index equals 0. Also, if index equals l.count minus 1, it's the null value. And I actually don't know if you're going to be searching for the index of result and that result is null in any of these. Yeah, what's going to be happening there? But that's easy to decide actually. Actually, if this is null, you kind of want to go on to the next one, so it doesn't matter. So if result is not null, then just do this. It will work fine, even if this is null, because you're going with indexes. But if result is null, well, then just go to the first one. Okay, because you have circled around, so probably this is not, yeah, we probably don't really need to use this. So yeah, okay, I think that's all we have to do for this one. So let's see if we have if we have set up the D-pad onto our inputs, and then we can just call the switch key and so on. So I see that we do not have it set. So okay, let's set it up. Let's add the inputs. Well, the easy way will be to just do d-app and just do d-pound app, duplicate, and duplicate. The app left, right, and down. Let's set this up as well. D-pad down, D-pad right, D-pad left. We can also add some keys, so I'm just going to add, actually for this I'm going to add 3. For this I'm going to add, for the left one I'm going to add 2. For the right one, since it's the right hand, I'm going to add 1, which is usually your main weapon. 1, 2, 3, and then for down we could just add 4, I guess, for the keyboard. Okay, save asset. It is, let's see, let's compile. It is a button. Okay, so that means we could use the perform. Now, one thing that we shouldn't allow our player to do is change weapons when he's interacting. Okay, so we're going to go over here and we're going to say void handle switch weapons or an item or whatever. Okay, we need to know if you're pressing the left or if you're pressing the right, and we also need to know if states or if the controller is interacting. Simply return else controller, inventory manager, switch weapon is left. That's about it for this. Then we can drop this inside our start, inside our keys, player, D-pad left, performed, because it's a button, it's going to work as a delegate, so it's only going to work when you first press down the weapon. Perform then, handle switch weapons as false. Duplicate that and let's say the right handle switch weapons is left. Yeah, is left, needs to be true. Okay, so now we are going to be able to switch weapons depending on what we have on our IDs, and if we press the D-pad or 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's close that. Then to actually test this, we need greatsword. Let's do firecaster. Let's do the sword. Okay, and let's do here greatsword. So we should start with 2 greatswords now, and we should be able to switch, and we do. And I think we have this wrong. On the left, you can see that we are loading the unarmed. On the right, we're using the wrong. Yeah, I think the D-pad right has it wrong, but that could be from something else. So we only had firecaster on the right hand, but it was loading on the left hand. So handle switch weapons is left true, switch weapons is left, then, oh yeah, this needs to be is left and is left. Okay, so right hand, unarmed, greatsword, firecaster, unarmed, and okay. So we are missing on the unarmed. We are not clearing. Yeah, I think we are. It has to do with how we clear the attacks, and not how. Yeah, and not what we were doing just now. Okay, so I think the current action that we're going to have over here, even if you are indeed unarmed, it does have the additional objects because it doesn't clear them. Okay, so on the load weapon, once you are loading the unarmed, get item action container, target action container, copy item action container, then item action container from to dot. Let's see, we have item actual, react anim. We should probably just copy all of that from dot react anim to dot weapon hook, from dot weapon hook to dot is 200 item actual override react anim, from dot override react anim to dot additional object animation name, can parry, we have that, damage, well, from the unarmed this should have worked, but I don't know why it didn't. Like, we are missing one method over here. Let's see, we have our default actions, you have your weapon hook, you have all of that. Then on your current actions, let's see, let's switch this to the fireball, okay, for current action, and switch this to unarmed. Okay, so I think they do not update at all when it's null, so that probably means, or a lot, like this doesn't work. So if item is not a weapon item and item is not null, yeah, probably this doesn't work. So we're going to do if item equals null, basically just do this. Target weapon hook. Oh yeah, that's why we're using the, yeah, okay, I see that. We don't need this. So we do need this though. This return your weapon hook. Is left weapon item, load weapon model. Yeah, okay. So we do need this as well. Yeah, okay, so you know what, let's copy all that. Let's just drop it in here. I'll comment this and this. We don't need this and this. So it's a matter of just bypassing this, but I think if that was ever the case, let's see, if weapon item, so over here we should remove this and say if item, or better yet, weapon item, set this to null. Okay, then if weapon, if item is weapon item, then weapon item equals cast this weapon item as item. If this pass null, then it's just going to unload the weapon and it will then copy from one of it to the from the default actions to the target actions. Okay, so now this will be, at least this will be correct, I think. We will see what we load over here and if they are load. Let's see. Okay, fireball. Yeah, okay, they do not unload. We do not copy, even though we get the callback for the throw, we do not get the default actions to show over here. So that means we are firing those weapons. So that's weird. We do come in here, but then why are we not coming from the other side? So default action, we get the basic default action and we get the get item tag container from the current action. Okay, and we copy this, but it doesn't copy because you need to go from to. Yeah, that's weird. So you know what, we're going to attach this. Let's go and hit play. I'm going to switch once. And now I'm going to go and assign the breakpoint. Before you do over here, then I'm just going to assign it here and we go step by step. So we have an item is null, which means we're going to get the item action container. Okay, let's see what we have inside our item action container. We have null, punch1, and so on and so on. And then we also have from the current target container, you have punch1 and so on. Unless we need to update, no, that's the game UI. We should probably also update as well. With item actions. Yeah, okay, get copy item action container. Yeah, here it is. We don't actually do anything after that. We have the new item action container, but we do not really do it. We do not really do anything for this. Yeah, okay, I see that now. So we were unloading, but we weren't loading back our item. So let's close that. Now, if weapon item is null, then we do not have to do the rest. We do need to update the current item with a null. That's only for the game UI though, so it shouldn't really matter. Update item icon hook, okay. If target item is null, target item not null. Actually, that's kind of an issue as well. So let's go back and let's tackle one problem at a time. So remove this for now. So over here we need to update now the items for this one. This is a simple item container, okay. Copy. Actually, what are we doing here? You're getting this action from the default actions and the current actions. We copy the target action. So now we need to, yeah, okay. Now we need to update this. So, actually, no. Hold on. What? Copy item action container, okay. Well, this is actually as well wrong. We need to make this as per weapon action as well. So, yeah, now that's confusing. That's a lot confusing because even if we're basically just changing only the RT target. So let's see what's going to happen. Maybe we are updating only one and we haven't noticed it. Let's see. So hold spell, throw spell. Now we got nothing and he's throwing a fireball. Okay, so that doesn't work either. For the left hand as well, you have that. And apparently yeah, okay, so apparently the left hand is entirely bugged, I guess. So because current action, as you can see, I do have my great sword on the left hand, but nothing is really happening. The attacks never really change. This is the default actions. Now they did, but opening and closing the left item, the left hand item, doesn't really do anything. So I think we have another bug over there. And I'm guessing the left hand is also what's responsible for updating the game UI. Yeah. Okay, so you know what? Because we are at 45 minutes in, let's do a pause for this. And on the next part, we're also going to find all our errors and our problems. We might just have to rework this entirely, because apparently it doesn't work as we expected it to work. Let's see one more thing first. Load weapon. This just loads the weapon onto the model. Yeah, okay. The actions are handled differently. Okay, so yeah, let's pause for now, and when we get back, we're going to basically re-edit this part of the script. So as always, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and if you like to see more stuff, more videos, more series, more of everything, then consider supporting me on Patreon so we can keep making all of these nice things we're making. I'll see you next time.